think that's it for those pieces. So this is a free call, but we do have donations accepted each month to organizations across the globe that are supporting those who are significantly impacted during these particular challenging times. This month, we are supporting the Okra Project, and your donations are going to help Black trans people to provide them with home-cooked, healthy, and culturally specific meals, along with resources and support. And we actually have a member of our community who works with them. Denny, are you here? If you're here, would you unmute yourself? Because we'd love to have you say a few words about that.
Hi.
Hey, Denny.
So I don't work with them. So my connection happens to be, I was one of the, first of all, my name is Denny, like the breakfast diner, as I like to tell people. I was one of the contributing team members to the Brooklyn Liberation March this past Sunday, June 14th, for Black Trans Lives. And one of our organizing speakers that we worked with happened to be the Okra Project. And so how that works is that if you donate to them, they essentially fund Black trans chefs who will then gather groceries and go into the homes of Black trans people who need food and are food insecure, and they will cook them home-cooked meals. And amidst that and the deaths of Nina Pop and Tony McDade and other Black trans people, the Okra Project is also working on funding Black therapists to essentially give Black trans people free therapy right now. And so, yeah, that is what they're doing. And like Nicolette said, I'm not here just to speak on behalf of the organization. I just happen to be here. Just a fun coincidence. I'm usually always here in the corner. Fine.
Well, it's so great. Thank you so much for bringing your voice into the mix and sharing, because it's just, yeah, it's such an incredible organization. And I love that you could share some specific things that they give. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for letting me speak, because, you would think, especially for Black trans women, being a part of community of women, being LGBTQ and being Black, that you'd have 3 separate support systems. But right now it's actually the opposite. And it's kind of shameful how much we are failing Black trans people right now.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you for coming out of the corner, Denny.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else, Nicolette?
No, that's it. If anyone has any questions, you can private message me.
Right on. Yeah, and look, it's just a couple bucks, $5, whatever. It just, if you get value out of this, then please pay it forward. Please pay it forward. Okay. All right. Let's just start with some deep breaths, just to ground everybody into the moment. So, go ahead, everybody, exhale out together. Take a nice inhale in through the nose. And then I want this to be an enthusiastic exhale through the mouth. Just let anything go that you might be holding on to. Inhale again. And then an even deeper sigh out the mouth. You can shake your body, wiggle your body, let everything just kind of go. And last inhale in. And then with a sigh as loud as you dare, my friend Rich would say, exhale out. Maybe stomp your feet a little bit. Just really land in the moment. And then with your eyes closed, turn your awareness inward for just a few seconds. And just feel what it's like to have a body. Really feel the weight of your body. Feel the sensations in your body, your heart, your belly. Feel your butt pressing into the chair, into the ground. Feel your feet on the floor. And with your feet on the floor, become aware of the heavens, so that your body can become a bridge between heaven and earth. Just take a couple deep breaths into that realization, into the feeling of being grounded, but also lifting to the sky. And then go ahead and open your eyes and let's jump right on in.
Okay.
Let me make a little statement here, Nicolette, before we start, because this came to me this morning as I was thinking about y'all. One of the things that I do a lot of men's groups, and one of the things that we do, and women's groups too, we both do this reconciliation. We do a reconciliation process. And I've been thinking a lot and writing about, what it means to reconcile an unhealthy relationship, right? And what are the steps to reconciling an unhealthy relationship? And I'm going to come at this from the masculine perspective because that's normally how I teach it. But anybody in the relationship can choose to do this. But normally the partner with the most power, it needs to initiate this. So for an unhealthy or toxic relationship to be healed, the partner that has the most power, the partner that is primarily in charge, you'll see where I'm going with this in a second, or wants to be in charge, or should be in charge. I mean, you add your language, right? Should be leading. Let's put it that way. Should be leading. That partner has to recognize that there has been injury, has to recognize that there is, because of the behavior, primarily their behavior. So let's say I'm doing this with my relationship, I'll make it very specific. So if I'm doing this with my relationship, the first thing I want to do is I want to scan the relationship to see where have I been neglectful, where have I been unconscious, where have I been, God forbid, abusive, where have I not taken her feelings into consideration, where have I made her wrong for how she feels. I scan the whole relationship from my perspective if I want to lead. And I go to her and I say, you know what, here's where I've let us down. Here's where I've let us down. I've let us down in this area, this area, and this area, and this area, and this has now gotten toxic, it's gotten unhealthy, and I'm here to be a stand for us to change that. And here's how we're going to do that. Here's how I would like us to do that. How does that feel to you? Right? So the first step is to take full responsibility for what has been created. The second step is to have a conversation from that place, meaning I am responsible. I have allowed this to become toxic, this to become unhealthy, this to become, not what I want. Right? Of course, both partners have something to do with it, right? But this allows for reconciliation because the partner who has been predominantly leading or in charge takes full responsibility for what has gone wrong. Okay, so to me, and I know this, I'm trying to create a framework, and this is just a framework for me to look at what is happening in the world right now, what is happening with racial injustice, right? So to me, I'll just spell it out. White America needs to go to Black America and say, here is what we have been doing wrong. Here is where we have let you down. Here is how this must have impacted you. Here is the way that we have been unconscious, neglectful, abusive, you name it, right? We could go on and on, okay? Here's what we want to do to try to help. How does that feel? And then there's a dialogue. How does that feel? How does that feel? Until something feels good as a movement forward, and then it gets implemented, right? But until that reconciliation happens, there will continue to be this incredible sense of injury. Now, this is true in any relationship. It could be with your child. It could be with a good friend, right? somebody has to step up and take full responsibility. In my opinion, it needs to be white America, but that's just me. Some people might say, oh, well, both people are equally. I don't tend to agree to that, but I want to provide a framework for reconciliation because this works in virtually all relationships. Virtually all relationships. Here's where I've let you down. Here's what I've allowed to happen. Here's how I think we can make it better. How does that feel to you? Dialogue, dialogue, dialogue. Come up with some plan that moves forward, and then we move forward together. Okay? Last piece. What can we do to rectify? If I'm doing this in my relationship, I would end by saying, is there anything I can do that could make up for the harm that I've caused or the injuries that I've caused? Who knows what that would look like? Who knows what that would look like? And of course, I'm going to take your questions on your personal relationships and things like that, but I think it's impossible to separate what's happening culturally from what's happening in intimacy. I think they both have to be addressed simultaneously. And I think if we look at this, and my personal stance on this has been for me to call out white people because that's been my experience, right? Like, here's what I think we need to do in order to be a stand for solution here. So, you can agree with me, you can disagree with me, you can bring your questions. I'm not here to impose my view on you, but I am here to take a stand. Okay, and that's the stand that I would take. And I would also say that it's important for any relationship, right? Whoever's in the masculine in any relationship, whoever wants to be in the masculine in any relationship, is in charge of growth and direction, right? Is in charge of growth and direction. Now, of course, this is co-created, and of course, this is not about authoritarian being imposed, but the leadership role in relationship, at least with regards to growth and direction, is the masculine principle. Now, there could be a woman in charge of that. There can be, it doesn't matter how you identify, any human being can be in charge of the masculine, primarily in a relationship. This is not gender specific, okay? But those who are, or it can go back and forth. So, for example, at this period in our relationship, my leadership skills are going to be better than yours, so I'm going to be the leadership principle of this period of our relationship. And then a year later, things might shift, and then your leadership skills are better, so your direction is better, your clarity is better. So the masculine principle is about clarity, growth, depth, okay, truth, right? The feminine principle is about expression, love, feeling, right? And we need to separate those from gender specificity. We need to separate those because as we move into this sort of new relating, it's very fluid. It's very fluid. Relationships are very fluid. Even normal hetero relationships are very fluid, moving back and forth between masculine and feminine. It doesn't matter how you identify. These principles are still very much entrenched. And so healthy relationships should be fluid, moving back and forth between these two principles. All right. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. And of course, if you have any questions or comments about that, you can go ahead and bring them, and we'll jump right on in.
Okay, we're going to start with Rebecca Reed. Rebecca, please unmute yourself.
Hi, John. I'm going to keep my video off.
Okay.
Thank you so much for doing these calls. They've been so amazing. I found love in quarantine. I couldn't believe it. It was, it's been amazing. We've been living together for, since the 22nd of April. And I realized that I'd never felt love before until this relationship that I'm now in, and I've done a lot of work to be able to show up as a partner. the last 3 weeks we haven't been together because he had to go back to work. And 2 days before he left, there was a fraud in his business, and I felt him pull back. And then yesterday there was another fraud, and again I felt him pull back. I meant to be seeing him this weekend, and he said to me, I find it hard to feel you. I've stopped taking your energy, and it makes me doubt our relationship. And it's amazing that I've been able to keep very calm during all of this, because I know in my heart that he loves me and I love him very much. But I'm having a lot of anxiety because I'm going all the way to see him in New York now. And I'm scared that I'm going to show up and he's going to say, no, I don't feel you, which is, you know, I'm so scared, you know, have this thing, you know, in the world where I'm like, oh, he's going to leave me. It's like I felt that the whole time. And I just don't know how to navigate this next section of our relationship, because yesterday it felt like he was just like, we can just both quit if you want, because I can't show up for you and I know what you deserve and need. Because we do the your partner practices together. Yeah, I'm sorry that my question is about personal relationships after what you just said.
No, it's okay. I mean, I'm here to support you guys in whatever way is important. Okay, so look, this is a common theme in relationships, right? Which is the masculine. If he's masculine, which I imagine he is, he sounds
very much so.
right.
Yeah.
If he's masculine identified, right?
Yes.
Right. We can be masculine identified, feminine identified, and we can move back and forth between both. I'm masculine identified, but I have I flow back and forth in my feminine a lot.
Yeah.
Those who know me know this. So if he is, then the single-minded focus he requires right now to take care of his business, which I imagine is important to him.
Extremely, yes.
Okay, great. So he's in what Alison Armstrong might call, even though he might not be a young prince, he's in the young prince or mid-prince stage of his life, meaning he's so focused on building his kingdom. Is that fair to say?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So a king, for example, has built the kingdom, right? And there's a matter of just sort of being who he is in the kingdom. But in the mid-prince, young prince, mid-prince stage, which can go into your 40s, late 40s, you know,
yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Building the kingdom is the most important thing in the masculine heart. Mm-hmm. Not relationship. So that does not mean that there's not incredible amounts of love, right? Yeah. So if he feels the pain that he's causing you by just doing what is natural and authentic and kind of who he is, if he feels that's causing you pain, it will make him want to eject. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. So the way to rectify that, there's two things I want to address. One is, we think, most of us, is not men and women, all of us, we think that that love is about somebody. I'm going to say this. I'm not saying you exactly are doing this, but there's a tendency for us. We think love is about somebody belonging to us. Uh-huh.
I have thought that up until this relationship, because I don't think I've ever been in a relationship where I think about the other person.
Well, when you talk about losing him,
yeah,
that means that you either got him or you're losing him. So these things can be very subtle, right? So part of the way to work with this is to let go of the idea somebody belongs to us. I know it's very subtle, and I'm not saying that you're being selfish here. I'm not at all. But it helps us relax when we're not thinking that we could lose something because they don't belong to us at all.
Yeah.
They're not there is no belonging. Now, within that, the paradox is there's ownership, right? Like he can own your heart in a moment, right? Or he can own your soul in a moment, right? But there's not, he could claim you as his, so to speak, right? This is the language that we use, you know. And although it's charged language, there's a certain primal truth to it. You with me?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Okay. So, however, when we go meta out of the moment, right? And we go meta, this idea of allowing someone to, of approving of what's most important to them, gives them freedom. So if you want to really, I'm trying to think of the way to put this. So if you want to, this always gets a little wrinkled.
Okay.
If I'm just going to be straight, right? If you want to be valuable, the most valuable human being in his life,
Yes.
you will bless the purpose that he is so deeply entrenched in. You will, and I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying you're not, but the idea that it's somehow like his work, the stress that he feels around work is somehow a threat. It's that he feels, right? So
Yes.
just feel the difference now. If you went to him and said, I am here to, like, totally get that you are so devoted to what it is, to straightening out your business. Now, it's as if his kingdom is under attack.
Totally.
Yeah.
I totally get that. But I understand everything that you're saying. I'm tracking everything. But what I'm scared about is that he keeps on saying he doesn't feel me. Like he,
So this is this. So that might be true. That might be true. And what? So what he's probably feeling is your closure due to fear,
yes.
your devotion due to love. And when we get afraid, not just you, all of us, my love, when we get afraid, our heart kind of withdraws. We get cautious somewhat, right? And really, what's probably happening to you is a whole lot of not cautious. Probably what's happening to you is a whole bunch of internal storm. Okay.
It has been happening, but I don't let him see it.
Right. Let him see it.
I'm scared that will.
So hold on. There's a little. I get it. I understand. I'm scared that, you know. So here's the thing. He's not feeling you because you're withholding your heart. So I wanted to give you two pieces. One is sort of a frame to really let him feel your devotion, right? So I understand. So feel the difference, and men on this call, you know, raise your hand or nod or something so she could see that this really, you know, you can feel this. So if your partner came to you and was like, I understand you're under it, like your kingdom is under attack, and you need me to be the energy of devotional support while you're in battle, right?
Yes.
And if you went to him from that place, he would not feel you as somebody who's actually at odds with what he has to be doing, but he now feels you as somebody supporting what he's doing.
But I think I did do that yesterday. I was able to do that yesterday. That's why I'm going to New York at the weekend.
Yeah, great. So
I have that piece in place.
Great. Continue that. Continue that. Like, how can I be supportive? And know that he may only be able to give you, like, he may only be able to show up 1-2 days a week as a lover.
But John, this is something I want to ask you, because we were having sex 7 times a day, which, you know, he's never done that before, and it's not sustainable, I know. But it went overnight from 7 times a day to not at all.
Yeah,
and then we
his
left
kingdom was under attack. So again, you're asking questions about it's about his kingdom being under attack.
Okay.
Coming at it from the feminine, which I totally understand, which is there was love, now there's not love, but there was love. There was a lot of love. There was love 7 times a day. Now there's right, and of course your heart will panic at the loss of love. Of course. So you be kind to yourself, you be compassionate to yourself, because the loss of love is traumatic to a feminine.
Traumatic.
Yes. Yes. And so the trick is reveal the fear, right? The fear and the longing you reveal versus project.
Yeah.
Project is a stream out, reveal is an opening outward, like a revealing is like a flower blooming. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm afraid, and I want to be with you. Now, it might be, Rebecca, it might be that he just can't. It might be that he just can't. But your responsibility in the relationship is to bring love.
Yes.
Or whatever it is that he, even if he can't,
Yes.
it will be not because he doesn't have feeling for you, but because he has to attend to this thing. He has to attend to this thing. He can't like have a romance while his kingdom is under attack.
Yes.
He can't. He might be able to rest for an evening and connect with you, but then he's got to get right back into battle.
Yes.
And so I want to prepare you for what you're stepping into, because it will require a whole different skill set than the one you brought for the first month or two of the relationship, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And that skill set's going to be about revealing the truth of your heart without blame.
And if he says, I don't feel you, I'm doubting the relationship, what do I do then? Because I know that he loves me.
What would you feel? Like, what would be the authentic truth of your heart?
My heart would, when he said before that he couldn't give me what I need right now, my heart had a physical reaction. I felt my heart like
Yeah.
cry in my chest.
Yeah. So that's what you show. You show him what's true. You show him what's true. Right? You show him what's true. And let him, and if he can't feel you when you're showing him your breaking heart, then that's on him. Right? But if you're with
maybe he's getting confused between that, my heart, and sex.
Well, I don't know. He's not here, but I want to just give you the practice, right? And your practice is to reveal, is to bless and approve of what he has to do to fight the battle that he's fighting, and to be a devotional space for that, right? Can you feel the part of you that actually loves that? Like, would love to, like, he's working late and you bring him tea?
Yeah, I was doing that.
Great. So just, that's the spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of it is if he's not feeling your heart, it's probably good feedback that you're not revealing your heart.
Wow. Okay.
So your heart, I mean, just the one instance, if he says, I doubt our relationship, and you're not bursting into tears, if that's your truth, then you're not revealing your heart.
Wow. Okay. Because I just thought that it's too emotional for what he's going through right now.
That's you caretaking him. You
Okay.
revealing the truth of your heart. So you saying, oh, he can't handle my heart, is basically you withholding your heart, which is going to inspire him less.
Oh.
The only thing that inspires a man who's single-mindedly focused on purpose,
Yes.
is the depth of the feminine heart.
Okay.
That's the only thing. I mean, the only thing better than completion. Now he could be. I'm sure if I was talking to him, I'd be giving him all kinds of things to do and work on and structure to set and et cetera, et cetera. But he's not here, so I'm talking to you. So your responsibility is to reveal the truth of your heart, to evoke more consciousness from him.
Okay.
And if you do that consistently, let's say you go to New York for a week or however long, and you do that consistently, and he still does not respond, or he still says he's not feeling you, then he's not your guy, or he's not capable.
Okay.
But you've got to do it for a little while, weeks,
Yes.
weeks of. So he says, so you get there and he's like, I don't know about our relationship, and you break into tears, and then he says, but I love you so much, right? And then you swoon or sigh, or you're letting him know, when every time he comes forward towards you,
Yeah.
that you give him the authentic truth of your heart, amplified if you can. That's hard. I'm not
Other than crying, what's another way to amplify?
sighing,
Yeah.
sound. He comes, just let your body. So rather than use your mind to tell your body what it should do, let your body respond authentically to the moment. So if he comes towards you and gives you a hug, maybe you sigh.
Yeah.
Maybe you weep. Your responsiveness is what is nourishing to him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if you're withholding your heart, you're withholding your responsiveness, which is maybe why he's saying he can't feel you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I know it's hard. I'm sitting here making it sound so easy, right? It's not. It's very hard. I get that. But it's basically it's what I see with virtually every woman I talk to.
Interesting. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Sherelle, you are next. Will you please unmute yourself?
Hi, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Okay, so hold on, this is really embarrassing. I have to take out my retainer.
Okay. Taking me back to.
Good morning. First of all, just thank you so much for doing these calls. This is amazing. I was married for 4 years and with my partner throughout my entire 20s. So we decided to evolve our relationship and get divorced, and it was very painful. And I was the one that I think I was in the masculine for a lot of that relationship, and I put divorce on the table as an option. And my partner took it pretty quickly. Like, I think once it was on the table, it was like,
Okay, great. You're leading, so I'm gonna just follow your lead.
yeah. And so I've been in a process now of going through grief for the past year and a half. And when I think back, I experienced that the end of the relationship, like basically like my husband died in a car crash because it happened so fast. And now I'm in a new relationship that's very slowly unfolding, and I get hit by incredible panic in my body, like panic attack level.
Mm-hmm.
Responses to opening to intimacy, and it generally happens in like those very sweet small moments, like holding someone's hand
Mm-hmm.
or like making someone breakfast again.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just appreciate any practices to, like, on that body level, like let my body be able to relax.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
Okay,
you.
so there are two approaches to this. One would be a therapeutic approach. The other would be a yogic approach, right? So the therapeutic approach is you still have grief in your body from your marriage, right? You still have so I would create space for yourself to practice. And, on the virtual workshop, we have practices, and you can get like a 7-day free trial, whatever, and just, do these practices, get this practice. And the practice is, there's a sort of a movement practice that Nicolette and I lead, or maybe it's just Nicolette, or there's a few of them, right? It's 20-minute practice. create space to do that practice and bring your grief through that practice. Now, you're about 10 minutes into the practice, you're bringing your grief, you're opening your heart, you're moving, you're breathing, and you want to collapse. Don't. Keep moving, keep breathing, keep crying. You know, you might be in a puddle of snot, but you just keep going, keep moving, keep opening. That's going to help you move all of that stored grief, which I think has something to do with the panic as well, right? It's going to help you move all of that. So you need to create space in your life for that practice. Can you do that? Okay. Okay. And it's an act of self-love. Like I'm going to give my aching heart, my still wounded heart, my still tender heart, space and structure to move.
Hello, baby loves. Are you
Somebody-
making some?
Although that's very sweet. Okay. So are you with me so far, Cheryl? Yeah, all right. Yeah, because it's right there. It's still in
Yeah.
your body love. Yeah, right. And it's not fair to this new person, right? That, you know, that there's all this unreconciled grief. So it's good that you're going slow. Beautiful that you're going slow. Okay. Now, in those moments that you're talking about, noticing, so going into your heart. So right now, looking at me, can you feel your heart? Good. So can you just let us feel the ache in your heart through your eyes? Can you just let us like connect to the ache in your heart? Yeah. Great. So you're feeling your heart and you're letting us see your heart through your eyes, yes? Yeah, okay. So you do that in the moment. It's okay, my love, it's okay, yeah. So you do that in the moment with your new partner, boyfriend, whatever you want to call them, right? Person.
Teen dating man.
Yeah. Dude, you're dating. And you just let him feel your heart through your eyes, through your breath, through your body. You let your body become an expression of the truth in that moment. So this seems to be the theme today, which is responsiveness to your heart in the moment. It was what I was saying to Rebecca. You've got to allow your heart to be fully expressed through the body in the moment. That is a feminine human being's value in the relationship. The masculine value, the reason why you would be attracted to me at all is because I provide clarity, direction, structure, right? Without those things, I really am not that attractive. I'm not saying that we aren't all attractive as human beings, but let's be honest. Like the thing that attracts you to a masculine being is their capacity for depth, their capacity for structure, their capacity for clarity, right, ladies? Yeah? So it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Your capacity to feel your heart is the thing that he can't do himself. It's the thing, I mean, he can, but not to the level you can. You can, of course, create clarity, depth, structure for yourself as well, but the whole point of a polarized moment is that one partner is bringing structure and depth and consciousness, and one partner is bringing the energy of love and the energy of the heart and the energy, right, through the body. When those things happen, we create polarity in the moment. It could be two men, two women, it could be however anybody identifies, it can be, you know, it can be you with a place. It can be you know what I mean? Like, so polarity is a universal concept that the human body gets to transmit. But when you touch your heart and you let him feel your heart in the moment, you are sort of surrendering to the love that you are. And this tender moment that you're talking about is just, at its core, it's your desire to love. Same with Rebecca. Like all of the fear, beneath all the fear, beneath all, right? It's your desire to love. And to be loved, right? Fucking, how beautiful is that? Right? Like, how worthy is that? And if this partner, if Rebecca's partner or your partner can't can't handle your like desire to love expressed through your body in the moment, fuck them. They're not yours. They're not right for you.
Yeah. No, he's been really supportive and amazing. I think that what happens for me sometimes then is I'll get in my head about not being expressive, and it also like shows up as like I feel like my throat chakra just gets blocked, and then I'm like now I'm just quiet and awkward.
Right. So that the practice is the yoga is feel your heart, slow your breath, soften your eyes, lift your throat. Also your solar plexus. So it's really those pieces. If you do that, everything will soften and the energy will flow because you are love, right? You are love. In those moments, what you just talked about, your body constricts the flow of love. So if you soften your eyes and you just expose your throat a little bit and you lift your solar plexus a little, yeah, just right, took you half a second. Now love flows, yeah? Which he's bound to respond to. He can't help but respond. He'll breathe, he'll smile, he'll pull you closer, he'll, cry himself, like he will respond. And so, this is the flow of love moving through your body because ultimately it's just all about how much love you can, as a feminine being, how much love energy you can move through your body moment to moment. That's the feminine practice. Now, this is I'm talking about relational moments. Obviously, in the world, there are places you have to put on your armor and you have to like kick ass and da 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 da. But in the relational moment, this is the yoga.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And be kind to yourself. Like be kind to yourself. And really, the thing I really want you to do is to go back and don't ignore the grief that still needs to move because that's really crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When will that be over? But
Another year. Another year. Yeah, another year. Yeah.
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 All right. Thanks.
Yeah, just relax into it. Right. Okay.
Okay, next we have Ashish. Please unmute yourself.
So something I've heard you say a few times that I really
Oh, we lost your sound, brother.
John, maybe lower your mic just slightly.
Sure.
you guys hear me?
I still can't hear him. Can you, Nicolette?
So Ashish, bring yourself a little bit closer to your mic. So just come a little bit closer. Yeah. And then go ahead and speak a little bit louder.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Now we can. Yes.
Thanks. So yeah, I just wanted to ask something I've heard you say before a few times, John, that I really resonate with is feeling like you're a masculine being at your essence, but you have a strong feminine emotional body. And I definitely feel, I think this quarantine has really exposed that in me because I've been long distance with a girl and she's really been in her masculine, like she's been working really hard and she's totally has resonated me into my feminine. So
Mm-hmm.
we're together, like sexually, it's like very comfortable for me to be in my masculine, and she's 5 years younger than me, and like I feel like that polarity is very strong. But since we've been apart, I've found myself like getting like paranoid and like overthinking and just like not being able to just be solid for her.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like clouding my interactions with her, and then it's making her more masculine and like needing to caretake me more and more. And the good news with all of this is that I'm finally going to see her in 2 weeks, which it's starting to feel like that's really the only solution at a certain point. But I guess my question is, how do you integrate the feminine and masculine in a way where, like, because I've read like a lot of data stuff, and I want to be very careful to not shame my masculine or I mean my feminine
Oh,
emotional body.
no.
I also don't want to. I don't want to revert back to like being emotionally detached or like toxically masculine like I was when I was a little bit younger.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out like where is that balance where I still like am able to express myself and feel maybe like not seen or not heard in the way that I want, and not be afraid of expressing that to her, but also like have the structure for myself and for her.
Yeah. Yeah. Great, man. That's a fantastic question. I'm glad you brought that. You can hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. Good. So think of the structure as your body, your breath, and your awareness. Okay, so those are the three elements of masculine structure. So your body, your posture, which is great, right? Your breath, which we can always deepen and slow and just kind of get more full. So the person who has the mask, David said this a lot, and I found it to be true. The person who has the deepest breath is holding the masculine pole. So she could be on a Zoom call with you, right? And you're just sitting there breathing, breathing deep, feeling feeling, and your awareness is in the space behind you, above you. Your awareness is wide. You're feeling her, you're feeling yourself, you're feeling the moment, you're feeling your own heart, and you're breathing deep, right? That is structure. So now you're the structure, even when she's in her masculine. Eventually, it might take 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Your transmission of masculinity will, because that's all masculinity or femininity is a transmission. So you're transmitting awareness, consciousness, breath, and depth into the interaction. Eventually, she'll relax.
Totally. And I've noticed I did that because I did the Art of Spiritual Intimacy online workshop, and like the next day I had a call with her, and I was all send out from the weekend, and like I just sat there and she just started like moving and like dancing around and like making faces, and it felt really good. But then I also have times where I want to be that person.
Yeah, fair enough. So I just wanted to give you the structure piece first. So the structure, you should be that person. That you are that person, right? Like, so so once you get the structure down to just sort of help polarize her out of her masculine, without saying you're in your masculine, you shouldn't be in your masculine. You shame her masculine, which does not work and should not happen. You out masculine her sort of in a ninja, loving, ninja conscious, deep way, right? Eventually, she's just going to relax into who she is, right? She's just going to relax into love and energy, and it's a gift you're giving her. Now, in those moments where your heart, you want to reveal the truth of your heart, just know that you can bring a lot of energy through that structure. So let's say you're looking at you're looking at her and she starts to move and your heart just like leaps because it's so beautiful, right? And you're touched or moved by it. And you bring a tear to that structure, but you're holding that structure. So your masculine structure holds your feminine expression, and then she might say like, what's going on? And you might be, I just love you so much. You're so beautiful, and my heart just explodes. 2 sentences. So you give her your feminine truth. Could be the same thing as I'm feeling needy. But you give her the I'm feeling needy from an open place, from an open, fully structured, deeply breathed place, if you know what I mean. But you do it in a couple sentences without any collapse. So it's not your feminine that will collapse her or kind of push her away or even masculinize her. It's your collapse around it. Now, part of bringing consciousness to the moment will be you have to recognize how much of your feminine she can metabolize, right? So if you're a hot mess and you're just like, I'm a fucking hot mess, and you're just a hot mess because your heart's exploding, right? And this is true for all the feminine, anybody in their feminine, right? Part of being a good partner is to be aware of how much your partner can metabolize. So if you're a hot mess and you could say, I'm a fucking hot mess right now. Like, you're going to have to be the masculine. You name it. You're going to have to be the masculine for us in this moment because I'm a fucking hot mess. And then can I share what a hot mess I am with you for 5 minutes? And then she says, well, yes, you can. Right? Because she's got the structure in that moment. And then you're just like, and I'm scared you're like you don't like this, or I'm scared. You know what I mean? Like, you can let it fly. But you've created a space that is polarized, even if she's in the masculine and you're in the feminine. Does that make sense? So you're honoring your feminine by creating structure for it to be expressed through. You're honoring your feminine by asking if you can reveal it to her masculine, right? You're honoring your feminine by not hiding your truth. Okay? And then you feel what happens. Most women love it if it's done with structure. Your fully expressed heart with structure. This is the second time I've referenced this. I may have to screen share it or something. Have you seen the last scene of Pride and Prejudice? Okay, watch the last scene of Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley and Matthew McFadden, I think his name is. He is the epitome of structure, like just full-blown structure, but his heart is breaking, and he's revealing like the most vulnerable truths, like, I love you, and if you don't want me, I'll leave, kind of truths, right? But he's doing it with so much structure and depth that it breaks open the moment. So your feminine often will remind her of her feminine, which is a gift, right? So many women lose touch with their own feminine because they've got to go put on a masculine shell to kick ass in the world. And so your feminine emotional body is actually a reminder of the love. Now, if you can do this without losing awareness, without losing breath, and without losing the structure of your body, you will be imminently trustable. Because very few men know how to do both at the same time. Very few humans know how to do both with integrity.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, good, man. Yeah, and look, man, as a guy who has his own wild feminine heart, like I have a feminine emotional body, so I can be a fucking hot mess, but I own it, and I give space for it, and I ask my partner, "Are you okay? I'm a hot mess right now. Are you okay? I need 5 minutes to be a hot mess. Are you okay with that, baby?" And then that gives her a chance to say yes or no. Most of the time, she's like, "Sure." And she gets kind of like, she'll take a deep breath and she'll ground herself and she gets ready for my feminine. And it's great. And this is the way it should be. We're not like these monolithic, you should be in your masculine all the time and she should be in, no, it's like we're human. We should flow back and forth. So I honor your feminine heart, brother. I'm glad you brought that question. I love it.
Yeah, the last thing I'll just add to that quickly, if I can, is
Sure.
I noticed how my own ego around being masculine gets in the way a lot. Like the other day, I mean, we're like in a long distance, we're not in a monogamous relationship. And she was like, "Yeah, I really want to try being open with you and like seeing other people." And I just felt how much that hurt to hear her say that.
Yeah.
Expressed that to her, and then I feel like that was the right thing to do, was to.
You didn't express that to her, or you did?
I did.
Yeah.
But then like after the call, the rest of the day, I was like, why did you like let her know that you care? Like, and it was just my.
Well, okay, so let me go. Now you've added a new wrinkle here, brother. So I have to address this. If your truth, let's call it your truth of the relationship, is I don't want to share you, then you better own that. So when you go see her, if that's your truth, you better, I'm sorry, my love. And I'm just going to be blunt. You walk away. If that's the case, if you're like, look, baby, if you want to open the relationship, I can totally understand that. If that's where your heart is, I can't share you. I don't want to share you. I'm too, I'm too enraptured. I would rather us go deep together. And even if you say, we're going to go deep and practice together for 3 months or 6 months, Like, I want us to try that first. So you give her a very clear direction, but if opening a relationship is not in your heart, don't let her drag you into that, man. I'm just saying that brother to brother. It'll be a fucking house of pain.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, we're spending a month together, so I think that's kind of what I'm gonna try to see is like, can we go deep and get to that place where
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's a good way for you to bring your masculine. Like, here's the container, okay? Here's what I want. Here's what I want. How does that feel? Here's what I want. How does that feel? And and at the end, you know, most of the time when a feminine being wants to open the relationship, it's because she doesn't trust you yet to take her someplace she can't take herself. So your job, you know, put your big boy pants on. I know that's kind of hard to hear sometimes, but your job is going to be like, okay, like, where am I not taking her someplace that she can't take herself? And then you fucking take her there. It's a challenge. Like, all right, where am I not leading? Where am I giving up structure? Where am I not, like, you know, blasting her? Oh, where am I not fucking her open to God? Kind of thing, right? And then you bring that to the best of your ability. And then if it doesn't work out, man, you win, because you elevated yourself for the sake of love. Because just like I was saying to Shrell, that at the heart of this is your desire to love, which is the most beautiful, noble, you know.
so helpful, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good luck, brother. All right, we'll do one more.
Okay. Holly, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi. Hi, John. I actually just participated in your online workshop, and I'm so grateful for your work. My question is about polarity, and I guess maybe the concept of caretaking, and these are those kind of the only two options in an intimate setting.
I'm sorry?
My question is, in terms of masculine and feminine polarity in an intimate setting,
Right.
I'm trying to explore more about that. So I'm in partnership with both a man and a female,
Mm-hmm.
and so over the weekend, just exploring, like when I was kind of staring into the eyes of my feminine partner, but I think both of us trying to be in our feminine and being vulnerable, and then like just kind of recognizing sometimes the polarity would happen, and then other times it would be like both of us are in a hot mess. Or so I'm just trying to understand if polarity in an intimate setting is automatically what gets evoked, and then
No. Let me just start there. So no, it's a conscious choice. Now, if somebody, okay, let's just say that you were at a meditation retreat. You went to a silent meditation retreat for 10 days, right? And you were breathing and feeling the infinite and deepening yourself, right? And she was at an erotic dance festival for, you know, for 10 days, and then you guys came home. Yeah, polarity would be the byproduct of your personal states, right? Your embodied states. So, but short of that, unless you're practicing the arts of masculine, the yoga of masculine depth, let's call it, and the yoga of feminine embodied love, let's call it, just for lack of a better term, then polarity will need to be a conscious choice for both of you, right? Or sometimes the relationship or the moment will call for it, right? And then somebody has to step up and lead it. Do you want to do that? Do you want to be do you want to be in the masculine with your feminine partner, or do you want her to be in the masculine?
well, I guess I think part of the challenge is that I think we both feel like we're more feminine in our essence,
Mm-hmm.
and we also have a male partner that might, at his essence, feel more feminine as well. And so, what happens usually in our dynamic, and there's also trauma involved, um, is that I feel like with my own training, I will go into clarity and provide a peaceful presence. That's my practice.
Mm-hmm.
But that feels challenging over time.
You're probably not getting nourished in the way that because your essence occurs to me as feminine, right? Even though you have masculine capacity, you can be clarity, right? So you're not getting, you're not getting well fucked. Does that feel true?
Maybe in the dynamics, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, well, so in the dynamic, right? But that's the same thing. Like, there's no difference between, you don't have to be having physical sex to be,
Yeah.
right? So it's that sense of, I'm not getting let me use a different way to look. You're not getting deeply penetrated
Mm-hmm.
by consciousness, right? Which is in essence the polarity practice, right? Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, it would be painful if your essence is feminine to put on a masculine shell, so to speak, or cloak, to be in a polarized moment, but you're not getting your core heart fed.
mm, um, so my next question is about when a partner is going into an emotional trigger, and is like, I'm just trying to really understand long term what is the best way to show up for that.
Okay, so like a trauma response?
Yeah.
Okay, the way to work with a trauma response is to bring them into the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
Man or woman, doesn't matter. You know, trauma is our emotional body, it's the feminine, right? So it needs to be grounded in the present moment. So they're going into a trauma response, you might say, look into my eyes. Or you might put your hand on their leg and breathe with them and just say, I feel you, right? Or just feel my hand, right? Just feel my hand. Or hand me that coffee cup. Anything that brings them into the present moment is going to allow them to be relational. Then you can address what's happening, because when they're in a trauma state, they're likely in a past, they're having a past response. They're not in the present moment. So the way to work with that now, and I'm not a therapist, I'm giving you the yogic practice, right? They probably need a lot of therapy, I'm imagining, right? But the way you can work with it relationally is to bring it into a present moment relational experience, which is, stay with me here, you can breathe with me, you know, feel me, like put your hand on their chest, feel my hand, I feel your heart, right? All those things will help bring them into the present moment.
Can you explain what you mean by caretaking?
Caretaking is when, give me an example of what you think I mean.
Well, my question in my mind is I want to be a presence of love and nurturing for somebody but I don't want to enable them. I don't want to enable continued pain or.
Right. So caretaking is when, the way I will describe it in this moment, I might give you a different definition at a different time, but for this call, in this moment, caretaking would be, you are the expression of, if you want to be loving presence, right? But once you start allowing I was talking about it in reference to a feminine partner with a masculine partner. So a feminine partner trying to control a masculine partner's emotional response or direct it is caretaking. Right? So the moment, if you're in the feminine, if you want to be in the feminine, then your responsibility is to reveal the truth of your heart through your body, like we've said. The moment you get out of that lane, That's your lane in the feminine. In the feminine, right? That's your lane. The moment you get out of that lane and start like trying to direct them as well, because you don't want them to be hurt, or you don't want you know what I mean? You want them to have a certain reaction to you, then you're caretaking. Does that make sense?
Yes. So going back to what you were saying about working with somebody that's in a trauma response,
Yeah.
would you consider that, you know, breathing and guiding them, would that be a more masculine presence?
Yeah, of course. Anytime whoever's directing the body of another is in the masculine, right? Even if just briefly. So if you're a feminine being, but you're telling your partner how to move when you guys are having sex, you're taking the masculine in sex versus expressing. And now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't, doesn't mean you can't. It just means that you know, like, oh, okay, I'm going to go in the masculine for 5 seconds here to say, let's switch positions. Okay, now I'm letting go of the masculine. I'm going to be back. It's just awareness, bringing awareness to, yeah, if you're directing somebody's body or directing somebody's breath, you're taking the masculine. And it's probably, if you're not in a trauma response and you're more present, it's probably great that you're doing that.
And so, sorry, going back to the caretaking question,
Right?
because again, I don't want to enable, and I think it's really powerful.
How do you feel you're enabling?
Just enabling for that response continually to be okay.
For a trauma response to be okay? Well, if it's trauma, then it's not enabling, right? If it's trauma, right? And if what you're doing is you're just bringing them back into the present moment and not trying to get them to be different, other than just be present. So there's a difference between being present and in their body and not in a trauma response versus once you move beyond that, you're probably, out of you're probably in a caretaking moment. Does that make sense? You've gone from taking them out of trauma and into the present moment where they can be with you to now, if you're the masculine in that moment, your leadership is going to be what would be the next best move. That's not caretaking, that's leadership. Right? That's leadership. So if you're in the masculine and your masculine partner, let's say, is in a trauma response, and you say, look at me, breathe with me, like, let's, right? Then you're in the masculine. So now you feel, okay, we're now both here in this present moment, and you allow the next move to come through your body. Right? Whatever that is. Maybe we hug, maybe we cry, maybe you allow the next move. That's leadership. That's not necessarily caretaking, if you understand, if you can feel the difference. Yeah. Yeah, and I think you're thinking about it a lot, right? And I think beneath the caretaking question is the reason why, okay, I'm just going to say it, right? The reason why it continues to feel uncomfortable is because you actually want to be penetrated. And that's the truth, right? So the reason it doesn't feel good is because it sounds like you have to be the masculine for both the man in your relationship and the woman.
Yeah,
which,
yeah. Unconscious.
Well, yeah, you end up being, let's say, you don't have to be, but you end up being. So you fill that void, so to speak, for their feminine and their trauma, which occurs to me as a painful, as a longing for more. That, to me, focusing on that feels like the deepest piece of work for you right now. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right, y'all. Thank you all very much for these questions. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting Okra Project. And thank you, Denny, for being here and explaining to us what they do in more detail. Thank you, Nicolette, for holding everybody. And it's always an honor and a pleasure to be here with you guys. And I wish you nothing but the best. We'll see you. We'll do this again. I'm going to do this through the end of the year. Just kind of support everybody. Looks like coronavirus is going to be with us for a while. So we'll see you guys again next month.
We'll be back Tuesday, July 21st. See you all next month.